can provide speculation opportunities for funds. Since the beginning of FIS, inconsistent words and actions constantly applying to increase investment quotas while loudly short-selling the stock market have been exploiting the policy uncertainty, instability, and unpredictability of the Chinese stock market to profit. On the other hand, the more complex a system is, the more stable it may be. On May, China's A share market unexpectedly fell % due to an increase in stamp duty. On the same day, the H share market only fell % while the B share market fell more than %. This phenomenon has been referred to by foreign media as the strange phenomenon of Chinese corporate stock prices. For foreign investors, the chaos of China's finance is evident. In addition, China's finance is opening up to the outside world, and in the face of various disturbances from external forces, Hong Kong can play a buffering role to some extent. It can be foreseen that China's finance will be forced to develop greatly in the process of being utilized, and the stability of complex system self-organization. However, the complexity and chaos of the financial field itself not only confuse foreign financial capital, but also the management of China. It can only be a matter of cracking down on the situation and being dragged away by the situation. Fourthly, the Chinese-style social liquidation is the most peaceful. It is common around the world that too much funds need to be liquidated. The law is only expressed differently in different economies. In the classic market economy, the outbreak of financial crises became the main way to evaporate funds and close positions. But it brought about severe economic fluctuations and social unrest. For example, the Asian financial crisis caused many large companies to go bankrupt. In South Korea, people also used their household gold products to help the government overcome difficulties. Under China's special way of settling funds, the administrative liquidation has replaced the severe financial crisis. The management often directly forces project shutdowns in the form of policy directives, causing the chain of huge funds to instantly achieving the effect of cooling and evaporating. During this process, banks with government guarantees played the role of shock absorbers. For example, the T-Bun incident completely wiped out the billion-yuan loans of 6 financial institutions, forcing banks to follow the company and suffer significant losses. From this perspective, the market economy with Chinese characteristics has alienated the classic expression of financial crisis and to some extent ensured the smooth operation of the economy. But this seems to digitalization, the internet, and other technologies have broken down all the walls of the world, allowing the democratization of capital, technology, and information to come at the same time. Technological progress has proven that the function of the left brain can be replaced, and technology can be more efficient. Secondly, the transformation of exchange, production, trading, innovation, and lifestyle, especially as China is facing the cross-cutting of these 5 ways, has led more and more people to shift from practical rational needs such as survival and food, to emotional demands such as entertainment and happiness. The shift from focusing on high economic growth with one hand GDP to sacrificing GDP to achieving energy conservation and consumption reduction and calculating the happiness index in various regions is clear evidence. Thirdly, the Huashan road of science and technology has been falsified, and various factors such as capital, culture, and talent are constantly being dismantled, grafted, and integrated under the impact of marketization, industrialization, virtualization, and other forms. The reallocation of these resource elements is not just a theoretical logical deduction and systematic analysis, but requires improvised inspiration, obsession with details, and creativity. Fourthly, people's faith in science and technology is quietly transforming into a reverence for art and creativity. On the one hand, compared to professions such as lawyers, accountants, and auditors, many people prefer to work in the fields of art, entertainment, and design. For example, art designers in the United States have grown tenfold in the past decade. On the other hand, creativity is becoming a global trend. Singapore's creative industry with design, art, and media as its three pillars has an average annual growth rate of over 8% higher than economic growth. And Shanghai's creative industry has also accounted for 6.55% of the local GDP. In addition, the government's emphasis and cultivation on the creative industry, such as Chongqing's plan to build 20 creative industry bases in 2008, bringing the assets of the creative industry to over 800 billion by 2012, will undoubtedly accelerate the switching of the creative engine. As a result, with in left brain control is clearly outdated, and the thinking style of the younger generation has shifted from left switch from brain to right brain. The right brain belongs to the brain that can generate beauty and joy through inspiration, intuition, music, art, religion, and other aspects. It processes information through spatial dependence and intuitive simulation of creative thinking, opening up a jumping and fantasy imagination space for humans. The right brain represents personalization, virtualization, creativity, and fashion, which precisely matches the infiltration of multiple civilizations, the intersection of multiple ways, and the fusion of multiple needs under globalization. That is, for convening tell stories, whose stories are more credible, and who has more wealth. At present, investment banks seem to be the king of stories. Whether it's internationally renowned Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, or China's struggling private equity funds, they are all passionate about telling stories, ranging from building friendships with the president and prime minister to hyping up rumors about the chairman of a listed company. The purpose of hype is nothing more than to increase their equivalent. The financial civilization does not exist independently of other civilizations, but is linked to the first three civilizations. For example, agricultural listed companies graft financial civilization onto agricultural civilization, amplifying the achievements of agricultural civilization several times or tens of times through A financial civilization. Technology-based venture capital funds graft financial civilization onto industrial and information civilization, greatly improving the efficiency of industrial and information civilization. At present, the most successful grafting is still in investment (NKS), including popular IDG technology venture capital funds, VC venture capital, PE private equity investment, etc. Each of the four economic civilizations has its own differences. The older the era, the more complete its knowledge system is. However, at the same time, its knowledge is the efficacy also accelerates the decline. The characteristics of different economic civilizations vary greatly, and the corresponding knowledge systems have significant differences. Judging the development trend of the next civilization based on the knowledge laws of the previous civilization is similar to the Battle of Guangdong and Qiying. At present, the society is generally unaware of the arrival of financial civilization. Interests of people be respected, rather than being a broad concept. The difficulty of transforming this concept lies in encountering the resistance of traditional ideology and the covert boycott of vested interest groups. Another prerequisite is the upgrade of the governance concept, that is, the upgrade of the version of making decisions for the people, which is undertaken by everyone, upgrading from limited liability to a limited and bounded management model that leads social rules and maintains their fair execution. Previously, the direct participation of the state in the operation of the economy inevitably led to self-interest, resulting in impure motives for the state. However, when the state is above economic interests and only serves as the creator and maintainer of the system, the transformation of its role creates a natural demand for the principles of fairness and justice. The controversial labor contract law, to some extent, is a manifestation of the shift in national motivation from favoring enterprises to providing universal coverage for the interests of workers. It is a transition from a focus on efficiency first to a balance between fairness. Despite its poor timing, it is still a landmark milestone, because the more a few people resist, the more they can reflect that it actually represents the interests of the majority and touches the pain points of interest groups. At present, it is the ministry of power that undermines the principles of fairness and justice, distorts the state's motives seriously, and causes even greater public discontent. The phenomenon of door-oriented, departmental interest-oriented, and interest group-oriented. Many authorities use the name of the state to harm the people and enrich the private sector, and practice monopoly under the guise of maintaining fairness and justice. This distorts the essence and core of the national political system, which means that the state represents the interests of the entire society and the nation, and implements its representation through various state machines. However, in reality, various state machines become representatives of the state and fulfill the interests of their own departments in the process of representation. This deviation is the source of social contradictions at this stage. The real reason for the large-scale mass incident in Wengan County, Guizhou, is that the government has repeatedly violated the interests of the masses in mineral resources development, resettlement, building demolition and other work, and in the process of handling conflicts, disputes and mass incidents. Some cadres have a rough style, simple working methods and random use of police force. Although the stock market was in a mess in the first half of the year, there were still over billion yuan in stamp duty receipts, and local state-owned asset management commissions are still preparing to queue up local state-owned enterprises. 10 trillion yuan. And the number of financial professionals also doubled. There have been many phenomena in China's securities market that cannot be explained by non-classical financial knowledge, such as individual investors becoming the dominant player in the market, and their performance is better than that of institutions. There is no established financial theory that can explain the growth rate of China's foreign exchange, and foreign investment banks that are familiar with financial classics often underestimate the development of China's finance regulation and the market evolution are vastly different. The civilization that accompanies a certain industry in history from its emergence to becoming a dominant industry in society, it has gradually become the dominant economic civilization, including agricultural civilization, industrial civilization, and information civilization. Now a series of phenomena have shown that the financial industry is gradually becoming dominant. The number of employed people is rapidly increasing, and the financial industry in developed countries such as the United States has shifted from employees account for over % of the total employed population in the output value of the broad financial industry in the United States accounted for % of GDP, surpassing manufacturing for the first time. This proportion rose 2%, and this proportion is still rapidly increasing at present. The transaction volume of world currency is times that of world trade, which only accounts for % of currency transactions related to production and circulation, while the United States has even fewer currency transactions related to production and circulation, accounting for only %. There is almost no substantial connection between financial transactions and the real economy. It can be seen that financial civilization as a new form of civilization has entered the process of human history and will quickly become the dominant civilization in society. The emergence of financial civilization has overturned the three forms of civilization in history, presenting new characteristics of civilization. The labor axiology has been left behind by the new civilization. Buffett's ability to earn hundreds of millions of dollars overnight cannot be explained by the labor axiology. Similarly, the utility theory cannot describe the financial civilization, because the paperless office currency symbol cannot bring any physical and psychological enjoyment to the owner. Since the premise of traditional axiology no longer exists, the general equivalent of social economy is no longer gold and silver, Under the premise of financial civilization, the general equivalent of financial transactions has